available at that time. It was
So sport climbing is like recently?
Yeah, it started first in Europe in the early or middle 1980s.
So there are no boats like 20 years ago in London?
No, there was bolts in Longdong. Actually, I started climbing before I came to Longdong. But I think the first bolts in Longdong were in the 90s, sometime in the 90s. I'm not sure, 80s or 90s. And when I came here, there were some bolts, but not very many, and they were a different kind of bolt that, anyway, we don't need to, it's history. If I start talking about history, I will talk forever. I will talk forever. But I started out trad climbing, and I really loved mountains. I got into mountain hiking at the same time as rock climbing, and I still love hiking. I love it. I love being in the mountains, and I love climbs that are in the mountains. And in some places in America and in Europe, there's beautiful rock climbs that you have to walk a long way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to walk for 1 or 2 days to go to that climb.
Wow.
Carrying your camping gear and your climbing equipment and a stove, a sleeping bag, maybe 1 or 2 beers for after the climb, maybe. But you're doing this hiking in the most beautiful place, you know, in the mountains with the big peaks and the snow and the rivers and stuff. And that style of climbing, I love it. I really love it too. And climbing takes us to all these different kinds of places too. When you travel to go climb to some place, you think it will be just like Longdong. No, every place is different.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's in the mountains, sometimes it's by the sea. Sometimes it's in a really, really beautiful place. And then maybe sometimes, not so beautiful, but let's see, we're here, we'll climb. Sometimes it's in the city. It's really interesting. You can get a lot of different experiences.
In the city?
Sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes there can be a climbing rock, a cliff in the park, right? In town.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different stuff. So it's cool how it's always different. And when you travel, it makes you appreciate what you have at home, right? And I love to see my Taiwanese climber friends traveling to some other places. Sometimes they visit the places that I know in America or in Europe. Sometimes they go someplace I never went and they tell me about it. But we all feel always happy to come back here. I do too. It's amazing to come back to this place. It's good. You should keep climbing and you should travel a little bit. It will be an amazing experience when
I used to be a backpacker, but I
So
didn't climb at that time. But now, whenever I go to another country, I'll search for climbing.
It's amazing too because you meet a place that you can kind of understand, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and the people that you meet, you instantly already have some connection
Yeah.
with them. You know, like, oh, you climbing? Oh, cool. Where do you come from? Oh, is there climbing there? And the discussion just naturally.
Maybe we're gonna meet at Taiwan.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.